Good morning. Hope you're all right today. I kind of started up some research and recollections uh, concerning Highway 41 in the American South, and so much of my life is revolved around that highway. I never really realized, how far it went from Florida up all the way up into Wisconsin, I believe. So starting in Florida, which you don't think about Florida very much. My kids are all immersed in Disney World all the time, and I've been a couple of times, but I don't think about Florida too much. And for my class at the middle school of music, we're getting into country music, and then we'll get into rockabilly and then rock and roll. And I have been watching some documentaries that I had never seen before, uh, you know, about bands like Leonard Skinner, and then, of course, Allman Brothers, which I have more knowledge of. Leonard Skinner never was a favorite band, but I'd have to say that I have come to like them more in recent years. Uh, but, there was this general idea in the 70s among Southern rock musicians and Southern rock music fans, that Georgia was the center of all of it. And I was born in Atlanta, and I lived in Atlanta in '73 for a while. So there was this kind of Georgia mindset, probably because of Capricorn Records in Macon. Allman Brothers did live in Georgia for a long time, but they originated in Florida. And Leonard Skinner originated in Florida, particularly Jacksonville. And I have, been through there. I spoke at a couple of churches, one in Jacksonville and one in Daytona Beach. And then my dad and I, in the 70s, I don't remember the exact year, went down to the Keys to visit my Uncle Charlie. So, Key Marathon, furthest in Florida I've ever been, I believe. And that's where my Uncle Charlie lived. My Uncle Charlie was my dad's stepbrother. Now, my dad, when he started working as a young man, pretty soon he started working for his stepbrother Charlie. Charles Shaw was his name. He was a businessman in New Jersey, and my dad was pretty much mentored by Uncle Charlie. Uh, Charlie was older than my dad, and he had been in the war, and then he had owned a company, Charles R. Shaw, I think it is, New Jersey. And my dad learned a lot of things from him. So in the 70s, at one point, my dad and I went down to check on Charlie because my Aunt Pete had been put in a nursing home there in Key Marathon, and Uncle Charlie was by himself, living in a little trailer on the water there. So we went down and stayed. I think we stayed a week with him. Very eccentric old man. He had like a 56, I believe it was, Lincoln Continental. It was like baby blue convertible that he had preserved, and it was parked next to that trailer with one of those car covers, those bonnets over to keep it going down. That Lincoln, I believe, if I remember correctly, was the first car with a transmission cooler on it when you pulled a trailer. So, we always had to go look at that car. Now, my Uncle Charlie, he had gone down quite a bit, and he was going to be having some cataracts taken off of his eyes. The thing that stands out in my mind was that in the 60s, when he and Aunt Pete would come visit us in Greensboro, where we were living, they looked to be rich people. And of course, my dad's family, the Alexanders, many of them postured themselves to be richer than they really were. But I remember when they would come, they were quite impressive. But at this point, my dad and I are down there in the 70s. He had gone down a lot. He had a pet, I want to say, heron. It wasn't a stork because it didn't have that big bill. I'm going to say it was a heron. And it would bring a fish every day up onto the deck outside Charlie's trailer and drop that fish for him to cook that day. At one time, he'd been evidently a wealthy man, but he had spent most of his money paying for my Aunt Pete's nursing home costs. And it's kind of a wicked thing to tell, but it's true that as soon as he put her in the nursing home, he divorced her, and because the money was leaving, and I don't know that he ever went back to see her again. But at any rate, one of the things that stands out in my mind was that he didn't want us taking showers. He's trying to conserve water, and he cussed me out for taking a shower one day. I think I waited 3 days before I took a shower. It was quite hot there in the Keys. And my dad, fussed at him, but Charlie complimented me and told me, he said, "You'll be the next Billy Graham." Yeah. But anyway, it was kind of freaked out. That's the Florida Keys. So, Uncle Charlie died, and my dad was just sure he was going to inherit, something really good from him. But I remember the day, it was just a box of miscellaneous items that they had mailed to my dad, and my dad just took it to the street where the garbage was picked up. So, kind of a depressing story, but it's, part of my story, having been down in the Keys. I would, earlier than that, I went to the Keys with my cousins, because I had some cousins from Georgia who lived in Miami. So that's going to probably be the next stop on my story trip regarding Highway 41. Y'all have a good day.